morning, guys, and welcome back to my channel, or good whatever time of day you're watching this. I feel like it's been literally forever since I've picked up this camera and vlogged. I have been a little absent on YouTube, and it's for good reason, I guess. And that is because I have some very exciting news to share with you guys in this video, which we'll get to in like 2 seconds. But yeah, I mean, life has been so crazy lately, but so great. I don't know if anybody else is feeling that way, where life is just kind of coming back to a sort of normal, and that is really exciting and motivating. But I have been keeping a little bit of a secret, or it's not really much of a secret anymore if you follow me on Instagram, which is what this video is about. So, but I wanted to make a full dedicated YouTube video for it because I never anticipated to get as many questions or people interested in what was going on, because I was just sharing snippets here and there, and there was for a good time that I wasn't even really posting anything on Instagram or any of my social media because I was just really in the moment, and this took up so much of my time, and we were able to do it in such a short period of time, which we'll get to. But you might be able to kind of tell, like, where the heck are we in the middle of the woods, and what is this outfit that she's wearing? But it's all that I've been wearing lately for good reason, and that is because we meaning Sam, who is not here right now, he's out of town still on a job, and I thought he was going to be home for this video, but he's not. So it is a joint effort, but he's not here, so I figured I would get it done and out of the way so I could stop procrastinating. But all that aside, I'm rambling on. We have started a vineyard. So it's kind of been a crazy last 3 months. We have spent almost all of our free time down here, and I just am so amazed at what we have been able to get done in the last, I don't know, I guess April, and it's June now. Oh yeah, it's June. So we were able to get this done in about 3 months. So before I keep going on and on and on, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe down below, because I'm going to be posting a lot more about the vineyard. I did take a bunch of video clips and drone footage and things like that that I'll insert in here, kind of explaining what's happening. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into all the questions, because I don't want to make this like a super long video. Question number one, which is the question we kind of got the most, which was, why a vineyard? Why is this happening? And so on and so forth. And I really don't have like a great answer for you as far as like what one thing sparked it. I really want to put you on one of these posts, but hoping there's no like poop or anything on there. But what kind of sparked it was COVID. I mean, I know it's kind of crazy, but my dad got COVID back in December, and I did a whole blog post on this. Please go ahead and check out my blog, honestlyangelina.com, where I kind of share a little bit more in depth and like in a personal sense about this. But he got COVID, and it kind of really solidified my decision to stay kind of closer to home. I was kind of going back and forth the last 2 years as to where I wanted to like move to, or what I really wanted to be doing, and it kind of just really put the last nail in the coffin, if you will, which is a terrible saying considering. But anyway, so we are here and we're doing this, and it was just one of those like conversations where, what would you want to do with all of this land? You know, so I guess I'm getting a little rambly. Let me backtrack. I don't really know how to explain this. I haven't really like thought about it. But we have 18 acres of property, and we initially were like, what the heck are you going to do with all that land? Even though to me it's considered small, because I grew up on a much larger piece of land. But we were like, well, we might as well kind of like, you know, really step into our farmer aspirations, which we wanted to do at some point, like, but we thought it would happen later in life. But now that it's happening a little bit sooner, we were like, well, I don't really want to have, you know, livestock, like, as that would be my sort of farming. And I love wine, Sam loves wine, my family loves wine. We have wineries in the family, so I will link their stuff down below. They are in Tuscany, and it's beautiful. They have great, amazing wine, so you guys should totally check them out. So anyway, we decided that wine was the move. So we kind of created this concept. I kind of gave Sam the concept behind the designing of the whole piece because I didn't really want to have to deal with it because I am busy doing something else, which is what I'll share at the end of the video. But anyway, so we have these 18 acres and we said, let's go ahead and do some grapes. So we started this back in April, I believe, and we kind of just went for it. We just jumped in, and we ran into a lot of problems along the way. But for the most part, things went pretty smooth, which if you're somebody who really believes in God or in the universe or whatever, and things happening for a reason, you kind of know when things are like clicking, you know it's meant to be. So I'm going to try to get out of the direct sunlight, but overall this video is going to be a tour. I'm going to explain to you guys everything, the design, the vision, the everything. So I'm just going to give you guys a quick overview of this portion of the vineyard. So my little camera is going to give you kind of like a really ugly view of it, but I will insert some drone footage and maybe some just better clips that I have on my phone. So essentially, if you can imagine a Mickey Mouse shaped face, right? So you're gonna have like, this is for my Disney Channel kids, you have like one ear, another ear, and then like a circle in the middle. That's kind of the shape of this parcel. So in the center, we have all of the grapes, and we'll go into detail about the grapes in just a second. And then off to the right side, you have like your own little section over there. And then over on the left side, which is gonna be one of my favorite parts, we decided to plant an orchard, and we'll go into detail about that when I walk over there. But overall, this is what we have for the grapes. So right now, I believe we have about 65. I could be wrong. I really need to count them. I kind of lost count at some point. We have 65 grapevines planted, and that doesn't seem like a lot, and it probably isn't on the grand scheme of it, because there's definitely vineyards that do bigger and obviously just massive amounts of grapevines. But for us, this is going to be pretty small, and I want to use the word exclusive. So if and when we get all of our grapes, it'll be in small batches. And then over here, we have decided to do some lavender. So we've already have one row of lavender here, and we're going to add 2 more actually this weekend. So along with this video, I'm going to kind of keep you guys along for the rest of the weekend and kind of give you guys a little day in the life, because we do have a lot of things we have to do today, which is why I'm kind of ready to go. I would never put like mascara on for working, but for the sake of this video I did. And so we're gonna move up to, oh actually we're not. So before we move on with the rest of the tour, I kind of wanted to explain to you guys what this land was like before we decided to plant a vineyard. Now, I'll just insert some pictures or clips or like really whatever I have, but prior to all of this, this piece of the property had been cleared and actually had done one of those like controlled burns. And so it was really kind of in, not like bad shape, but it hadn't been touched for a long time. So I probably spent about like a week and a half on a tractor, like just riding around here, raking up all of the sort of old debris and just like overgrown like bushes and ground cover and all that kind of stuff. So it definitely has been a labor of love, and luckily we started this before it got really, really hot. But we have pretty much like built this from the ground up. And let's get into the sort of details about the grapes, because I know that's what everybody's here for, and that's what everybody's been asking me, which is what kind of grapes, when are you getting wine, and all of these things. So first and foremost, everybody knows the saying that's like that, you know, like a fine wine, it gets better with age. And they say that because wine gets better with age. So I know a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get a bottle. I can't wait to get a bottle. You will be waiting for a few years. We probably won't get a great harvest for at least the first 3-ish years. We probably will get grapes, but we probably won't get enough to make wine for, you know, at least a few years. So I really am excited to share with you guys about how we're doing this. So if you're from the south or southern region, you know a lot about muscadines. So muscadine is a very native grapevine to the area, and it's pretty hardy, drought resistant, really likes the soil here, and all that kind of stuff, right? And this is where science is so cool. And of course there are other varieties of grapes. So what we had decided, and what we kind of actually did, was we had contacted my cousins in Italy, the ones that have the winery, the ones that are linked down below, and we had asked them and said, hey, would you guys be willing to, you know, share some of your cuttings with us, because they grow a different kind of grape where they live, and, you know, you can graft them on to another plant. That's what, if you don't know anything about gardening, like, that is the coolest thing I've ever learned, was that you can basically plant whatever rootstock you want that's like native to your area or that's hardy, and then they graft a cutting from another plant onto that plant, and then that plant produces whatever that cutting is, but with a completely different rootstock. What? Okay, that's crazy. I know maybe some people are really aware of that. I was not. So anyway, these are muscadine grapes grafted with grapes from our family vineyard in Tuscany. So we are growing Tuscan wine in the south. So that is super exciting. If I'm gonna be honest with you, we had a bit of a rough patch. They were doing so well when we first planted them, so well. Like almost all but like 2 or 3 of the grafts had taken, and they were blooming, and it was fantastic. And then we kind of had a weird cold snap in the spring, and I'm just not sure if that kind of shocked the grafts back into like a sort of dormant phase. But it has been a bit touch and go here though. So, but again, it's like a learning curve, and I never anticipated we would even get this far this year. To have 65 plants growing, like planted, having all these posts in with all of the, you know, sprinkler systems in and everything. So it's been really, really insane to see how it's like kind of just transformed in the last, I don't know, I'm just making sure I'm recording. I'm not talking to myself out here. But anyway, so we had to find, you know, 2 or 3 year old muscadine plants to even be able to graft to these. So the hunt was insane. I'm kind of rambling, and I'm really sorry. I'm trying to make this not super long, but I also want to give a lot of detail. So right now we're kind of in a limbo land with the grapes, if I'm honest, and hopefully that changes soon, where the muscadine part of the rootstock in some of them is doing great. Like you can tell that it's like kind of giving off new shoots, but the grafts themselves, we're not sure how they're taking. So we might have to reassess in the fall and just to kind of see where we are, but to give them the full summer to sort of, you know, kind of see if they'll come back and reproduce buds. So I'll give you a close-up of what we have right now, which is a muscadine, but it kind of gives you the same vision. So let's say, let me get a pretty one for you guys. This one's kind of pretty. So let's say this is our muscadine grapevine, right? So we put these cages around, obviously to protect it from rabbits and deer and whomever who wants to come eat my grape. So that is kind of the muscadine shooting out from the original rootstock. Okay, very weird, but this is future me. Re-recording this section because my camera didn't record it. But you can kind of see right there, this piece right here, that is the graft from the grapevines in Italy, and it's not doing too great, so it appears, but we're gonna give it some time to see if it comes back. But obviously the rootstock of the muscadine is doing fine. But ultimately, I had to add my hat on because it's definitely gotten hotter since I recorded this. You are going to cut down your grapevines every season because you want the plant to spend energy developing a hardy, like, rootstock trunk stem, if you will. Before it can produce really great grapes, it has to have a hardy trunk. So that's why it takes so long, because you cut it back every year and you don't get fruit the fruit that you do get is not really fully developed. So even though this muscadine is growing, we won't really be using that, nor will any of the ones that you see that are growing. We won't use those, they get cut down because we're really just using them for the rootstock itself. But yeah, so it's a waiting game, and that's kind of how it's going right now. But that's kind of the detail and a close-up of the grapes themselves. So, okay guys, so today has been full of technical difficulties. I was editing and I realized that 2 of my files were corrupted, and I needed to come back down here to re-explain some things for you guys. But obviously the sun is very high in the sky, so it's super sunny. But the biggest question, of course, is what kind of wine are we making here? So the current cuttings that we have are Merlot grapes, but like I mentioned earlier, they're doing so-so. So it really will just depend on if these ones take. If not, we will, you know, obviously need to get new cuttings from our cousins in Italy, and perhaps they will be able to give us a Sangiovese grape, maybe a variety of red and whites. So a Sangiovese is a Cabernet Sauvignon kind of grape. So one or the other would be fantastic. I really hope that these ones do pull through. But yeah, either way, red wine all the way. So yeah, I think that was obviously a very key factor to share with you guys, and I didn't want to leave it out or just like put a little excerpt somewhere, so I just ran all the way back down here to do that again. So okay, the camera is overheating, so I'm going to try to get myself in the shade. And we've made our way up to the orchard. So up until this point, we have absolutely no idea what the name is for the vineyard, for the wine, all that kind of stuff. So that is still TBD, and we are kind of waiting to see like what name inspires us. And if you take a look around, obviously right now you can see that the grass is pretty patchy, and we have had just the time of our lives with the grass. So obviously out here in the middle of Nowhereville, you have to have a well put in, and a well, you have to get a permit, then you have to get someone to come out to drill the well, then you need electricity, and then the power company has to come give you the electricity, blah blah blah. Okay, these people were taking literally forever. So for about two or 3 months, like basically up until last week, we were watering all of these by hand. So whether that was through like big water tanks, which is what that thing over there is. Where is he? Yeah, he's over there. Okay. Oh no, that's it. I can't see. You know, you're trying to do is the best that you can with watering everything, but with that said, I didn't want to waste water on grass. So we were kind of in a pickle with the grass, and I, for one, am someone who loves grass. I needed to feel lush and full, so getting grass was really, really hard. So all of this grass that's growing is because of rain that we had, but with that comes a lot of runoff and erosion. So we've been kind of struggling to get the grass in a healthy place, but hopefully we're on the right track here right now, and we'll be able to put sprinklers in and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to take you guys a quick trip around the orchard. Which I am super excited about. We have a multitude of plants, and I know it's so hard to see, so again, drone footage does better for this, and this section of the vineyard kind of won't feel full until they grow, like till all the trees grow. But we have, I'll just give you guys the rundown. This is an apple tree right here. We have 3 apple trees, okay? We have different varieties. I think we have Honeycrisp, I think it's like a Red Haven, perhaps, or maybe a Fiji. And then we have 4 peach trees there in the back, because obviously we're in the South, we need some good peach trees. And I would also like to point out that like your girl dug all these holes. Okay, so then there's 4 peach trees, and then we move into, we have 4 cherry trees, which it's kind of hard to see, and you know, some are doing great, some are not doing so great, but that's farming for you. And then we have, oh wait, I'll take you to one that has some fruit on it already. We have 5 blueberry bushes here, and you can see that we're starting to get blueberries. We've already eaten a ton. At this point, this is for probably the deer. They're probably getting the best out of this right now because we don't have these sort of protected the way that, you know, you'd want to, but at this point they can have it for this season anyway. So yeah, and it kind of does, this is the left ear of the Mickey Mouse head that I was kind of explaining to you about. And eventually, like, all of these trees will grow and they'll kind of like canopy this area, and I think it'll be like really beautiful and like just like a fun place to have like Adirondack chairs and like maybe a fire pit, or, you know, somewhere away from the leaves so nothing gets caught on fire. But then we're gonna move up over to this like kind of bank right here on the corner, which hugs the back end of the property. So the overarching theme, and you can see right here we have all this dirt. This is from a crazy rainstorm, and all of this like sand and soil ran down and just kind of eroded. So there was a huge hole here, uncovering some of our well pipe, which has just been fantastic for us to have to deal with. And so, you know, there's obviously TLC and there's a learning curve here. So here we're gonna have this beautiful little secret path, if you will. And I have 5 Italian cypress trees who need to be staked, but they're not doing too bad, okay? They're not doing bad. And then I have 1 really beautiful magnolia tree, which she will grow as time goes on, but she's definitely flowered, so she's doing well. You know, there's a flower that just bloomed down there, so she's doing pretty good. But this will kind of overlook the entire property, okay? And you can kind of see some sneaky bits over there we'll get to at the end of the video. I hope you guys brought a snack because this is going on way longer than I thought. But you guys can envision how this will look once it's like all the way fully grown in. We have a ton of ground cover coming really, really soon. So the overarching theme, the vision for this entire piece of land, for all of it, is European countryside. So I want it to feel sort of like a vacation where you live. So that's, you know, the reason for all the Italian cypress and all sort of the variety of plants that we're going to plant, like all the flowers. So all along this bank, there will be colorful flowers, so it's not just green on green on green. And then right here where I'm standing, we did throw a ton of wildflower seeds. I'm really not sure if they're gonna come up this summer. They may come up in the fall. We may have to redo it. It kind of just depends on, like, again, the whole water situation. It was hard to keep everything watered and give it adequate water when we didn't have like access to water like pretty quickly, without having to like hook up the truck and like do all that kind of stuff. So one thing that I did want to share was that on this little bank area, which we will further plant Italian cypress. I have like 13 more that I need to plant, but they're pretty expensive, so I'm trying to actually grow them. I just planted like 100 seeds the other day, but they are slow growers, so that'll take some time. But what I would really love to do, which is, you know, kind of in the plan, is you see this like tree right here, kind of cute. We'll put a bench there at some point. I'm going to actually dig in staircase there with railroad ties, so that will be really, really cool and whimsical. So that's a really exciting feature that we're gonna have to look forward to and get crack-a-lackin' on. So okay, so now that we kind of have a decent explanation as to what is happening over here, just envision some more Italian cypress along the bank. Beautiful flowers and those cute little steps that I mentioned. Just kind of envision that, because that's what's going to happen. And then you see this really big blank space, and it kind of has no visual interest, but I promise you this is in our, you know, probably 3 to 5 year plan. So right here in the center will one day hopefully be some sort of pavilion or structure for us to either do an outdoor kitchen, just to eat, maybe have, you know, restrooms down here, because that is important. But some sort of structure here where people can, you know, gather and eat, enjoy, celebrate, whatever. And then you can kind of see this tree here. This little guy is a weeping willow. He is a bit sad at the moment, but hopefully he comes back. I'm very excited about him. And then if you can envision one of those around the trunk benches. I'll insert a picture if you're not really getting the image on Pinterest or something. But then you kind of look down the center aisleway of the grapes, and you know, eventually we will add pavers, maybe some stone, maybe a little patio area here for gathering, just so it kind of feels more landscaped than it is. But again, I really want it to still feel whimsical countryside. So just envision multiple rows of French lavender. So there's one row there and then one row there. So imagine 2 more rows on each side. So it will come up a decent amount. So it'll make it feel a little bit more full and less sparse over here in this area. But when they get pretty big, they'll obviously cascade over their little mounds. So that will be super beautiful. The lavender also really deters deer. It's a natural deterrent, so they don't really want to go near them or the grapes. So that's a great way to kind of keep them at bay, because even though they live here too, I don't really want them to eat the grapes. So that's kind of the vision here. And I think it'll look really beautiful. Perhaps maybe one day someone will want to get married here. I mean, I'm just putting that out there now. So that's the sort of overarching theme here. I will insert perhaps some of my Pinterest video pictures so that way you guys can kind of see. But let's head over to the far side and let's wrap this video up, and I can share with you guys what that is going on over there and my little secret that I've kept all the way to the end. Here you can see is actually so funny. This is actually a wild muscadine. So all of those grapes that we planted, they actually grow wild here. I know there's like one actually that just started to grow randomly in the center aisle here. So they're definitely a super native plant, and we do have them naturally where we live, which I think is so cool. So if for any reason my plants don't make it, I have plenty to choose from. But here is this little, the best part, the most whimsical part of this entire property is this sort of gully over here. And I'm still doing some research on it, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to find some answers at some point to give you guys more detail. But this is what used to be some type of river and or creek. I'm not really sure, but this is like a dry riverbed, which I think makes this property so whimsical, because you can do so many things here and, you know, make like a little bridge, very Bridge to Terabithia vibes. And we actually have some really cool trees that we found on the property that just grow naturally here. So those are 2 cypress trees. We have 3 wild magnolia trees that just grow on the property. So they're beautiful, and they've just been able to do so well. Dogwoods everywhere. I believe that's a dogwood over there. There's a ton. When they bloomed, they were just everywhere. So we ended up just clearing all this, or having this mulched, so we could kind of see and clear up views to that sort of side of the property. So the property is divided by this riverbed gully here, and up there, I want to share this more in detail in another video, but behind me will be where our house will be. So we cleared this section because it was pretty dense. I wanted to clear the section so we had a view of the vineyard from our house. So this whole property, from front to back, will go from the house to overview of the vineyard and the orchard, and over the gully, and it'll look so beautiful and so whimsical. Like I said, European countryside is kind of the overall vision behind this whole piece. So it's going to be a labor of love moving forward, just like it's been for the last 3 months. And it's kind of crazy to think, and Sam and I talk about this all the time, which is you're like building this and you're doing all of this right now because you know what it'll be like in the future, and you can look back at it and have your own time, your own like effort, your own work into this. So when your kids see it, it's like, okay, well, mom and dad did this, and look what we were able to build here, and this wonderful, you know, whimsical backyard and property is the way that it is because like we did it. And I think that's such a great thing to have in your family and for your kids and for yourself. So once we get more details on the house plans are being made right now. So we did design the house, which is why I kind of gave the overall design of the vineyard is Sam's vision, and my vision will be for the house. But yeah, it's just been really, really insane, and it's a slow process, you know. So it's what is it now, June, end of June, and I mean, my first initial meeting with our architect was in January, so it's just been very, very long. But you know, again, it goes back to that timing, and everything happens for a reason, and you know, not to rush things, and they'll be there when they're meant to be there. So you know, right now it is in progress, and it's very exciting to just see how it's coming along and all that stuff. So I hope that this video wasn't too rambly, even though I know it is going to be. I mean, I hope this video was informative, you know. So just to do a quick recap, we have grapes, we're making wine, boom, done. That's kind of a given. We're gonna have lavender plants, which we'll be able to dry and sell or give to friends. Our orchard, which will be full of fruit trees, hopefully at some point. You know, we have all of our cypress trees and our bank system and our weeping willow and all of those things, and of course the house coming. And I think that's all of like the major things. Of course, we're gonna try to make this as like beautiful and as effective as possible, but it does take time and it does take a lot of effort. So we're just trying to get as much of it done, you know, as we can. But like, to think that maybe like 5 people have had their hands on this land and all of this was able to kind of come to be, you know. So it's kind of insane how we were able to do it, and it's just makes me so excited because this will be my life. And it may not be conventional, and it may not be what other 25-year-olds or soon-to-be 25-year-olds are doing, but it's really, really exciting, and it makes me excited to get chickens. And let me know below, because this is something that Sam had an idea of, and I think it's a little crazy, but I've kind of like thrown it out to my friends and they think it's a great idea. But he really wants to have like little baby, like mini goats, like little pygmy goats. And he was like, oh my gosh, babe, like how amazing would it be if we were able to have like, you know, like yoga in the vineyard with goats, like goat yoga in the vineyard. Like how cool would that be? I keep thinking he's crazy, but everybody keeps telling me it's a fantastic idea. So I guess I'll be getting my yoga instructor's license at some point to do that. But yeah, anyway, if you've made it to the end of this video, I'm sure I'll forget things, and I'm sure I kind of went on and on and on, and hopefully this was organized. But if you made it to the end, I really appreciate it. I'm glad that you were able to watch, and hopefully you'll stick around for this journey. And yeah, please don't forget to subscribe, follow me on Instagram, because I kind of share most of the little tidbits and day-to-day stuff there, and I'll give periodic updates here on YouTube. And again, once we have more of a sound plan on the house and I get the drawings and the renderings back, I'll be able to share that with you guys. Also check out my blog, honestlyAngelina.com. It'll be linked down below. And any questions that you have, please feel free to message me on Instagram, comment on this video, because I would love to answer them. Like I said, I'm sure I missed some things. So anyway, rambling on again for the 15th time in this video, but thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next video.